Yes.
One.
What?
All right, we'll do 1, 2, 3, go. Okay.
What?
1, 2, 3, go.
I thought you already counted.
I'm gonna do it right now. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Wait. 1, 2, 3.
Hi guys, and welcome to another video. In this one, we're filming in the Smack Scuttlebutt Studios, and it's gonna be all about Eurovision, the story of Fire Saga, the movie.
Fire Saga is a brand new movie on Netflix written by Will Ferrell, directed by David Dobkin, and in it, Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams are two friends who are on a journey to win the Eurovision Song Contest out of Iceland. Eurovision videos are something that's relatively new to me. I only have been watching them for a couple months thanks to you. You showed me what Eurovision is the first time. And then when I found out that they were making a Eurovision movie, I hit you up right away and I said, Alex, have you seen the preview for Eurovision? And you said, yes.
Yeah, obviously. I actually had a friend from Germany texting me, also American. He texted me, he's like, did you know that there was a Eurovision movie released 3 days ago? I'm like, dude, my channel is about Eurovision. How could I not know that there is a movie coming out?
Now, the main concern prior to this movie coming out was that it wouldn't be respectful to Eurovision, but it seems like it was. Would you agree?
Yes. So just to start from like even before the movie, I thought this goes two ways because I didn't know that it was gonna be a Netflix movie. I thought it's either some sort of documentary where they show like behind the stage, like whatever 2019 Eurovision, whatever they did back then, or if not, it's gonna be Americans making fun of Eurovision. And then I went to see who's in the movie or what the movie is about, and the first face I saw was Will Ferrell, and I was like, oh damn, they're gonna make fun of Eurovision big time. But apparently they did not, and actually I thought even the jokes and everything that's over the top, it's still pretty at Eurovision level. Like, it's not that far away from the truth.
This movie was very much a feel-good movie. Like, it's a love story, it's a comedy, it's definitely like in the rom-com category. But one thing I love in movies in general, and I loved in Eurovision, the story of Fire Saga, was the amount of music in this movie. This movie is full of original songs.
I mean, it better be. Eurovision, like Eurovision Song Contest is about original songs. So just in case you're like Americans and you don't know what Eurovision actually is, the song contest is literally a songwriting contest. It's not a contest about the best vocalists or whatever. Obviously, you need to have a good voice to like present the song the right way.
You know, in this movie, so you guys know, Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams both sing their parts. Now, some of the songs also are dubbed over by professional singers, especially like the song at the big finale of the movie.
The last one.
There's gonna be some spoilers in this video, hopefully not too many huge ones, but spoiler alert for this review. But in the film, Will Ferrell, everything that he sings, he actually sang. Even the finale song, that's his voice. Now. And
I'm sorry, I just have to say, it's pretty obvious that was Will Ferrell's voice.
Yeah, there's no
doubt.
There's no doubt. Well, you know, if you've seen Step Brothers, if you've seen other Will Ferrell movies, he does, like semi-pro, he does love to sing in his movies. His voice is not great, but for some reason it's nice. Like, it makes me smile whenever he comes on to a part. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background, I don't know if you guys can hear that. For some reason, when Will Ferrell sings, it makes me laugh, and though it's not the greatest voice in the world, it's not unpleasant. There's just something like it's in a sweet spot of like being listen toable.
Well, I think that's actually what they tried to do anyway. Like, they didn't try to pretend there's something else. And this is also something that I really have to say if you haven't watched it and you're planning to like read the reviews or whatever on whatever channels. Just like, do not believe those critics. Literally, those critics wrote like some reviews from the perspective of what you would expect from a perfect movie and not from what the movie wants to be. I thought it was really unfair because this movie is not pretending to be like this super artsy whatever movie. And all the reviews, literally, I think like 85% of those reviewers, they had no idea what Eurovision was, and probably because they had this task to write a review about this. They went on Wikipedia, they kind of read something about Eurovision, probably watch a show or two, but they have no idea, they don't understand the context of Eurovision, because it's a lot more than just the show. And only like real like big Eurovision fans would understand what I mean. It's not like X Factor or American Idol, where you have every year like this series of whatever people and then they're gone and that's that. Eurovision, it's way more than that. And the movie captured that very well, but the reviewers had no idea what was going on, and obviously they just said that they didn't understand it. And yeah, it makes sense that they didn't understand it because it's not an American thing. I just think it's very unfair.
Bro, I never listen to reviewers. I'll go see any movie and I'll judge for myself. This movie was super funny. This movie was great. And now if you don't know what Eurovision is, you might feel left out of some of the jokes, but you know what I love so much? And I told my wife right at the beginning of the movie, the opening scene of the movie is with Waterloo by ABBA. You ready?
Yes.
All right, we'll do 1, 2, 3, go, okay?
Waterloo.
1, 2, 3, go.
I thought you already counted.
I'm gonna do it right now. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, wait. 1, 2, 3. Waterloo, I was defeated, you won the war. Now we're gonna go win Eurovision next year.
Yeah, it's my dream. Actually, just to say this before we start to talk about the actual movie, honestly, I do feel that the story of Lars, however absurd it seems in the movie, it seems like a very genuine, real story of a Eurovision fan. I actually can relate to that character, however absurd that is. Literally, when I started watching Eurovision, I started in 2005. When I was telling my friends or like my family about it, they literally were laughing at me. And I could not understand why they don't understand why this show is so cool. And everything that happens to Lars and how everyone makes fun of him because he likes it and he wants to go and he's not good, but that's his dream. That's literally what the Eurovision fan would feel like, because a lot of people are watching Eurovision, they're watching for the fun factor, but there are many fans that take it extremely seriously. It's like a very important part of their life. So that's actually relatable, even if it's a comedy. It's very true. This is how you feel when you're a kid and you like it. And the others are making fun of you.
Dude, if you guys who watch my channel haven't checked out Eurovision, go check out Eurovision. It's so fun. I definitely want to go. I hope to attend one year, depending on where it is, if that could ever align, because it changes locations every year. So let's talk about the movie really quick. So the plot of this movie, Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams, two kids from Reykjavik, Iceland, who grow up with a dream to win Eurovision and all along the way fall in love. So they was definitely approached from a perspective of like a really beautiful take on Iceland, the country, and what it's like to live there. There's a scene where two whales jump out of the ocean and it's magnificent.
But they're bored because apparently they see that every day. So for them, it's just like this small, boring town while the whales are jumping out of the water. It's extremely funny. And
then through a series of coincidence and luck and some nefarious foul play, they end up being the team to represent Iceland in Eurovision in the year that this movie takes place. Now, you guys might have seen Demi Lovato on the credits for this or in the trailer.
Clickbait.
She's in it briefly, and her character meets a grim fate early on in the movie. She's
pretty much a very bad ghost. That's what she is in the movie.
Like not a evil ghost. Like she's bad at being a ghost.
No, she's trying to tell Lars that something bad might happen to him, but at the point where she gets to actually tell him that something bad might happen to him, that bad thing already happened to him, and he already solved that situation. Well, not really him, but he had like some helpers.
Yeah. It's like, why is Demi Lovato in that movie? She's just a cameo character, basically. So if you were hoping to go see this movie to watch Demi Lovato sing, you'll be let down. But you get something even better, which is Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams, whose songs, including Ja Ja Ding Dong,
Reykjavik,
Double Trouble, Ya Ya Ding Dong, which is the hit song from the movie. I feel like it was the crowd favorite that they're playing in a little pub. Now, Pierce Brosnan, who is from the UK, I believe, plays the father of Will Ferrell, an old kind of playboy getting around Iceland.
I also thought that was really funny. I don't think the age gap between the two of them is enough
Yeah.
for Pierce Brosnan to be his dad.
Yeah, Will Ferrell's like in his 50s or something.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that to me it came very weird when I thought, okay, that's his dad.
Maybe
More like cousin.
Maybe I'll look it up and flash on the screen how old Pierce Brosnan is and how old Will Ferrell is right
He
now.
has to be at least 80 something in order to be able to be his dad.
Yeah, that might be true actually. And then so they travel to does it say where they go? Well, I forgot where they go. Where is Eurovision being held in the movie?
In the movie is in UK. I think somewhere in Scotland. I think
Scotland. You're right. It's Scotland. Yeah.
I forgot the city. Was it?
Yeah. I forgot the city, but it's Scotland.
I wanted to say Glasgow, but I don't think it's Glasgow.
I'll flash that up on the screen too. So they go there and they start performing their songs where they are met with there's obviously some obstacles in their way to winning, including a competing love interest. Now, there's a Russian Eurovision singer whose name's like Alexander Dmitriev or something like that, and he plays a sex player from Russia who's representing Russia in Eurovision. His song is called Lion Man. What is it called? Lion Roar?
No, it's the Lion of Love.
Lion of Love. And that song is amazing. It's like the most Russian song.
It? It's actually the one song that I do not like from the entire movie.
It's amazing in like kind of an unlikable way. Like it's like a something you would see in a campy, over the top, overly done, kind of like bad on purpose kind of song.
I can see that, but that does not really represent Russia in Eurovision. Russia actually sends some very good performances. Like this one, it actually seems to be funny. It's like I'm laughing at it. Russia does not really do that, not sending performances where you laugh at it.
There's a great scene in this movie where they do something called the song along, and it's where there's like a mashup of a bunch of different songs happening all at once, and all the Eurovision acts are at this one house party, and they all contribute some line or some melody to this giant mashup song, and it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Can you kind of give me a rundown? Because there's a bunch of actual Eurovision acts in that scene of the movie, right?
Well, even before that scene in the movie, there is one Eurovision winner in the movie. And that's when they actually have their first trip to go to Eurovision, and you will hear like this very slow piano song that's actually a winner of Eurovision. And in the end of the scene, they actually go to this piano player that's like a homeless guy just playing on the street, and he gets like a coin or whatever. So that's actually the winner of Eurovision 2017, and that's his actual song.
Oh, I did not know that.
So that's how the first person is being introduced into the movie. And after that, when you get to the song along, there are many of them. Most of them are winners. Some of them, I think like 3 of them did not actually win, but they're very famous. So I would start with Loreen, just because Loreen is like my favorite Eurovision winner ever. Eurovision 2012, you have to watch it. The song is called Euphoria. You would like it. Then we had Bilal from France. We had from Sweden 2019, which by the way, probably they had him there because they filmed it, like the scenes where they perform actually the Eurovision in the movie is the real actual stage of Eurovision 2019, and they were filming during the rehearsals of Eurovision 2019.
Oh.
So it's not a made up stage, that was the actual stage of Eurovision. So probably that's also how they got John in it, because at that point I don't think they already knew who wins 2019, so they kind of went with their best guess and they chose him, which was a really good act anyway, but they did not have in the movie the winner of 2019 because they did not know at that moment who won. Then I think I saw Eleni Fuera there. I saw Alexander Rybak. There's the guy with the violin. Mm-hmm. He's one of the most famous winners. He's probably the oldest winner from what they showed in the movie. He's from 2009. Yeah, I cannot remember all of them, but there are so many guys. So if you watch that scene and you're thinking, what the heck is going on? If you're like an American that has never watched Eurovision, maybe that's a bit weird. You have no idea what's happening, but that's literally just a tribute to Eurovision. Everything is like, if you're a Eurovision fan, that scene is just like, wow, another one and another one and another one.
Now, you said that so in the part where they're actually competing in Eurovision, there are a bunch of other acts, but you said those other acts are not actual Eurovision acts, right?
No, so the acts that are in the movie, they're not real acts, but they are all hinting at an act. So when you see the performance with like that monster dude and the lady singing, it's pretty much a hint to Lordi 2006. They won Eurovision 2006 with a rock song called Hard Rock Hallelujah, and they were dressed as monsters.
If you guys saw our last Eurovision video, that we reviewed that one and it was epic.
Yeah, that one always like turns heads because it's so not Eurovision like. It was just a shocker and it won. Acts are all about it. Even their actual performance, when he comes out of the roof in that hamster wheel, that's a hint to Ukraine 2014. They actually had a dude in a hamster wheel with a lady singing in front about TikTok, and you hear me go TikTok. It's, that was actually real fun, and their stagings, all the stagings in the movies are hinting at Eurovision acts, even if the songs are not. Except for the rap one that you told me about.
Talk too fast. People say I talk too fast. I don't talk too fast. I don't think that I talk too fast.
So that one would never be in Eurovision, like ever.
Chilling with the homies. It's called Chilling with the Homies.
No, that's not European at all. Would not be there. This comparison that they show in between the Greek act, which is like extremely sensual and sexual and wherever, very also LGBT for LGBT community, just because that is a very big community in Eurovision. And then you have the Russian act with the guy that wants to be the man's man, the dude, which to me, from the very beginning, I have to say, from like I think the first two scenes, I figure out that his storyline moves towards being gay in the end. I kind of saw that coming. And put Greece and Russia together to be like the bad guys, even though the Greek girl is not really a bad girl. Yeah. She just likes Lars. They make this comparison, I'm guessing, in between like Greece, what Greece was like the ancient Greece, when everything like being gay was just like a thing, like no one talked about it, was just a thing, and the Russia now, which is very limited law-wise for the gay rights, and putting them together in the end when the Russian dude sees how Lars and Sigrid are like in love, the Greek girl is telling him, you can be happy too, and then he says, Mother Russia won't let me or won't allow it. I thought that was extremely funny, the joke when Sigrid sleeps over at the Russian guy's place and she wakes up and she thinks that something happened during the night, and the guy's like, no, nothing happened, and then she realizes that her hair has like her hair is being, what do you call it?
He goes, I braided your hair.
Yes.
I find it very relaxing. She's like, how long did it take? 6 hours.
Yes. I thought it was so funny. I mean, at that point in the movie, if you haven't figured out that the guy is gay, you will never get it. Like, that was so obvious. That the jokes with Americans were very funny on both sides, because one joke, this is something that I was not expecting. So when I said that I saw Will Ferrell and I thought this is gonna be dumb, is because usually I don't really like his jokes. But in this movie, a lot of the jokes were actually funny and with layers. So in the scene where like the Americans are asking Lars goes through a bad pace at that moment. So they're asking him where they can find I don't know what place. And he gets really angry with them. Like, you stupid Americans, you're everywhere and whatever. And he makes like this joke with, oh, we don't want you here, go away, just follow the smell of Starbucks or something. And then the Americans like, there's a Starbucks
around?
Yeah,
pumpkin spice latte. He's like,
yes.
Go follow the smell of pumpkin spice.
That actually is a funny joke on two levels, because once you have the actual opinion of most of the Europeans about American as tourists. Actually, I was watching the movie with another American person, and he literally turned around, looked at me, and was like, is that what you actually believe about us? And I was like, is that like news? Because we are not even hiding it. Because, yeah, also from my experience, I did see a lot of Americans as tourists where they literally like come to you to ask you if you can take a photo of them. And while they're handing you the camera or the phone, they're telling, we are from United States. I'm like, does that matter if I take the picture of you? I need to know where you're from. So I did see that part, but in the movie, these four kids, they're absolutely normal. They're not doing anything weird. And Lars is totally overreacting. And that's the joke on the European side, because we do that. We are generalizing. So just because we met like 2 or 3 groups of American tourists that might be loud or just doing dumb stuff, we just tend to say, all the American tourists are like that, and that's not true. So that's why I thought the joke was funny, because it worked both ways. It was like a joke on both sides. Plus, in the end, Lars gets helped towards the end by the Americans, the stupid Americans. And even when he goes out of the car and he was supposed to say thank you, goodbye, whatever, he's saying something like, "You Americans, you are awesome, but don't come to Iceland. We don't want you there. We hate you. Don't go there. But you're good. Thank you. But don't come here." So I feel like this is exactly what the Europeans are like. Like, they're saying, "We don't want you here," or whatever, but then you're so nice and kind and thank you.
I like it because in those scenes you're talking about, the Americans don't even get that they're being made fun of. Like, in the car, there's a scene where Lars who's Will Ferrell's character, has to get back to the Eurovision contest in time to sing with his partner, and he catches a ride from the Americans. So they get in the car, and he goes, "Go faster, there's no speed limit." He's like, "What? There's no speed limit on any road in Europe, just go as fast as you can. You're doing great." And the guy's like, "Oh, awesome, cool." And he's peeling out, doing donuts and stuff down the streets. And then we do see them later at the end in Iceland, and he's like, "No one wants you here. Go home."
Don't forget about the pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And your jumbo juice, which, by the way, I had no idea what the jumbo juice is. I had to ask someone.
You had to ask.
I did not know what jumbo juice is. I thought it's like a big size of something, but apparently it's an actual juice. I had no idea.
Oh yeah, it's a place.
I missed that joke. Also, I think when they made the Starbucks joke, I was thinking that would have been a lot more representative for Europeans if the joke would have referred to McDonald's. I think we are saying that a lot more about Americans and Starbucks. I don't think we're referring to Starbucks that much, but maybe McDonald's did not agree to have their name in the movie like that.
Now, okay, so, man, that's pretty much the whole movie we just went through.
Well, no, let's not forget about the big explosion.
Oh, you want to talk about the big explosion?
I do. There are like some moments in there because if you guys have not watched, maybe just skip like this portion. Because
Don't skip it.
That one is gonna be like a surprise. But if you watch it already, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a moment in the movie when like a boat explodes, and literally that was not mentioned anywhere. Like, it's not in the trailer. There's not a hint about it. They never mentioned that storyline like everywhere at all. And when that thing actually happens, is in the worst moment ever. You're just not seeing coming. I literally cursed. I do not even talk during movies, but I cursed. I was like, "What just happened right there?" And then literally you just see a hand just falling, and that's supposed to be Demi Lovato's hand, like arm, the entire arm. I just thought it was very funny, but so absurd and unexpected. It's just. That was Will Ferrell. That was 100% Will Ferrell.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lazy story writing piece, because in it they need it's like an all is lost moment, and you're like, how are they going to get out of this one? And so they just blow up this boat full of all the other characters that are standing in their way. It's pretty funny. It's definitely lazy story writing, and then you just go with it. It's fine. It gets the story. It's like in the beginning of the movie, so it gets the story progressing.
Yeah. Actually, at that moment, I was actually interested, because I kind of knew that they will go to the actual big Eurovision. So I was kind of curious, how did they pass that moment? I mean, they went to the actual final, which I was expecting for them to win, and they totally blew it, like their final, their national selection. And I'm like, how is this supposed now? How are they supposed to go further? And I thought maybe we will just see like a card that says like 1 year later and whatever, and they have like another go. But no, like they go for a kiss and the boat explodes. And they're like, okay, so that's the way this happens.
Yeah, there are some jokes in there that I don't know how you would describe them. Like maybe not like they're tone deaf on cultural stuff, but I don't know what to make of like the jokes about the elves. So Iceland like believes in elves. And they go like lay wreaths and flowers and food at the house of these little elves on the side of the mountain.
At some point, they even mentioned, they said that I don't know what percentage of Icelandic people actually believe in it. I'm not sure if that's for real. I didn't even know that Icelandic people have anything to do with elves. So I did not know that at all. But I do think they've tried to make it as absurd as Eurovision is, probably as a show. They did not want to make the show itself absurd, so they've tried to make the storyline to be weird. So you still get like that Eurovision feeling, even though it's not that feeling does not come from the Eurovision show itself. It comes from like the way the story is being told. I think it's just very, very, very weird. I think it's also creative. I've never seen that. I never expected that. I did not see that coming. I thought it's just gonna be them trying to make it in Eurovision.
I enjoyed all of the jokes in the movie. I thought they were very funny. I thought the actors' performances were totally awesome. I thought that the the movie in general was very respectful to Eurovision. I think, without knowing, I feel like they accurately portrayed how they're getting rushed off the stage during rehearsals, and then when Rachel McAdams gets scared of the fire coming out of the stage when she sees it for the first time, because the stage productions in Eurovision are so over the top and insane in such a cool way that they did a good job representing that as well. The acts are generally over the top. I thought the whole thing was great. I've actually already downloaded the soundtrack on iTunes and been listening to it. Maybe I'll link that down in the description below too, so you guys can check it out and listen to all the songs. You too, right? Have been listening to the soundtrack.
Right before coming here to actually record this video, I listened to one of the songs like on repeat for like 2 hours. I almost missed showering and everything. I was like, oh, I have to go.
We listened to it on the car ride over as well. Because it's really good. It's great. I love it. So Alex, what would people need to know if they've never seen Eurovision and they're about to watch this movie?
Oh my god.
Because that's my audience.
Like, I don't even know how to explain that. Well, you would need to know that the movie, everything that's in the movie about Eurovision is really not far off at all. Even the parts, you will see like some parts where like the actual production of the national, like, I don't know, it's like their national committee or whatever who decides who to go. They are scared that they will not have the funds to actually organize, to host Eurovision if they win, because in Eurovision, the country that wins gets to host the next year of Eurovision. So I thought that was also a very realistic idea, because I did hear that a lot of the countries are sending sometimes bad songs on purpose just to be sure that they're not winning, but people are still watching. So they're getting the views, they're making their money, but they don't want to actually win.
Because it's like the Olympics. They build a stadium, they build a stage. It's very costly. Then they have to be able to support tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of tourists, and all of that is at the expense of the country that wins the Eurovision Song Contest.
Well, it's pretty much at the expense of the TV channel. So whoever is the one that organizes does that. But also now, I read like a few articles about it, and it's not as harsh on the country as it used to be. I would say like starting with 2010s, because the arenas get full and now they have a lot more shows. So on TV, if you were to watch Eurovision, you will see 3 shows, 2 semifinals and the grand final. But actually they have 6 shows in total, no 6. Now, because they have all these shows, in each one you can buy tickets to take part in, so they can make a lot of money off of it. Plus all the tickets are really selling out in like 2 days. Like, you have almost no chance to actually get tickets.
It was Eurovision is a pretty big event. If you guys aren't familiar, you can just go do a quick Wikipedia search of what Eurovision is, and then go watch on YouTube some of the prior Eurovision performances. And I think you'll be surprised and impressed at not only the quality of music, but the quality of production that goes into it. And the whole thing's just a great event. It's really cool.
And if you feel like you're just a new viewer, you can actually go on my channel and see some other Eurovision virgins watching Eurovision with me. So you will see what I picked for them, including Max. Max was in like 3 of them, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been in 3 of your videos
in 3 series, because one of them was a series, so there were like 15 videos that you're in.
Yeah. So if you guys watch my channel, you've seen the vlogs where I go over to Alex's place and we watch and react. Americans react to Eurovision. I guess this is Americans review Eurovision the movie, along with Alex, who you're from Romania, right?
I am from Romania.
Yes. You've never been to America. Would you give it 2 being the most?
Wow.
Wait, let's reveal on the count of 1, 2, 3. Reveal your thumbs up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 2. 4 thumbs up out of the 2 of us. That's maximum number of thumbs up.
What a surprise!
That's 4 thumbs up for Eurovision. The story of Fire Saga, starring Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams. I don't know, Alex, what else you got? I feel like that was a pretty good review. We just went and did the entire movie, basically.
Well, consider this was the very first movie review I've ever done in my life. I'm pretty happy with myself.
Okay. All right.
For watching this video, I know this was a bit different than the things that I normally do. I've never done a movie review, but I really thought it would be cool also for you. You told me to do actually a reaction with Americans watching Eurovision, but at this point, I'm pretty sure that all of my friends already watched the movie, because once it came up on Netflix, everyone watched it instantly. So I have to go through my friends to ask, have you watched it already or not? Because otherwise it's not going to be a first reaction at all. Go visit Max's channel. It's gonna be in the description. You're gonna see kind of like behind the scenes how we film one of the Americans react to Eurovision videos. Watching, like, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in my future video. Thank you, bye.